Hello, fellow Canadians. Today is January 15th, 2012, and it's the final day to use video relay services in Canada, which are offered in British Columbia and Alberta. The rest of Canada is wondering what's next. We've had many trials and tribulations. We have used our voices to speak out on video relay services, and we've worked nationally to host a rally last Friday, which was truly inspirational. We really rocked. The CRTC is very interested in that rally and congratulates us. And even though, despite it's a sad day to see video relay services end for us, the big dream is to continue lobbying, and that at one point we will win and we will be successful. As you remember, we put out the 5 points. On January 15th, even though the video relay services are closed, we still will go back to our first intention, in that we want to have VRS services as a permanent services throughout Canada, and we want to focus on that particular topic. Now's the time for us to look towards TELUS and really show our gratitude and appreciation for their bravery for being one of the only companies to do the trials for the deaf community, while other providers and telephone internet companies weren't willing to put forth. So we need to recognize TELUS and thank them. At this time, I'm going to allow Ava Hawkins to come and speak because she's been involved in the BC VRS committee, and she is the TELUS liaison person who facilitates between the BC VRS committee and TELUS. I'll let her say a few words. Hi everyone, I'm Ava Hawkins, and I am the BC VRS committee TELUS liaison representative. In the past, TELUS has provided the video relay trials over the past 1.5 years. And as Jody mentioned earlier, we'd like to show our gratitude to TELUS for being one of the first companies to actually support video relay services in BC and Alberta, while other companies, internet, etc., failed to do so. Perhaps maybe they didn't have the equipment or the technology or the interpreters or the know-how to operate the VRS, but TELUS really took the initiative. In the past several years, the BC VRS committee has had frequent meetings with TELUS to talk about various items. So, for example, one of the things in BC and Alberta that we did was we'd have quarterly reports on statistics, seeing how many people actually use video relay services. Initially, when we started, VRS was quite new, and it took time for people to learn how to use the service. The number of deaf-generated calls from VP to VP, from deaf to deaf, was quite high, while the VRS interpreter-generated calls were quite low. And that was a number that we needed to increase to show that deaf people in the community needed this service. And so we set up town hall meetings throughout the community to give an opportunity to educate people on how they could use VRS and how VRS could enhance their lives. So, for example, deaf parents might be able to call their children's teacher at school to see if their kids were okay or skipping school, or phone their doctor if they wanted to make an appointment, or maybe call the 24-hour nurse to see whether or not they should go to hospital. The public has that service of a 24-hour nurse. VRS with TELUS, we have had an excellent relationship, and VRS has really opened the world to all of us. For many years, many of us had difficulties in communicating, and VRS really opened the world. So TELUS also would like to see this service remain in existence as well. Now, if we look at TELUS, you know that one of their slogans is solutions. And so when we think about solutions, now we think about what next? What can we do? Maybe we can come up with some solutions with TELUS to lobby with the CRTC in order to sustain and have a permanent VRS service. TELUS itself has really been proactive in learning about the deaf community and being in partnership. As you know, the initial trial was only supposed to last for 1 year, and TELUS heard you. You complained and you let us know that you needed an extension, and sure enough, the BCRVS explained to TELUS, and they heard us. They extended the trial for another 6 months. But now, unfortunately, the deferral funding that they had for the trials is now exhausted. So this is your right to lobby with the federal government for your access. So what I look forward to next is solutions with TELUS. What that looks like, I don't know, but we will still continue the partnership. And we'd also like to thank those of you interpreters who worked for the Canadian TELUS trials. Thank you. Thank you for interpreting for us. We really appreciated it. The deaf community values the interpreters, and we value the interpreters and the deaf people who were involved with us. Thank you. Great. Thanks, Ava, for your message. So as you see, we have a lot of work in front of us. From January 15th to January 29th, it's really crucial for each of you to go and meet your local MPs. We need to have a minimum of 25 MPs in order for this to be heard at the government. Now, as Lisa Anderson has already put in her vlogs, she's given you some explanations on how to contact your MP, the questions and concerns you need to raise with your MP, and if you're not sure about it, please email the BCVRS committee. They'd be more than happy to provide you a media kit. And as well, if you're finding yourself energetic and you want to be involved, you've got caught up in the spirit, you want to do something to help us out, that would be greatly appreciated. There's no way that we can do all the work ourselves. So, for example, if you want to host something or you want to develop an online petition, that's great. However, could you please contact the BCVRS committee because we have the proper information. We'd be very willing to share that information with you before you go ahead and do that. We'd like to keep some type of standard and unity throughout the country. Thank you very much and keep working with us. Go Canada.